and I'm gonna share your screen. Do you have your
No, I'm pulling it
uh,
up. I don't have it completed, but this is
yeah, no,
part of.
just so we can make sure that it comes up. Doesn't have to be completed. So I'm switching. It says you're gonna get a prompt to say make you the presenter.
Yep. It works just the same way. So can you see my screen?
Yep, exactly. I see it.
Yeah. So it works the same way GoToMeeting does.
Yep.
The only thing I'm thinking is the only difference I can think of is I have to give do I need to give the control back to you?
I think I can change it.
That's what I'm
I can
thinking.
change it. I can go back to bring it back to me if I need to.
Okay. That's it. How are you?
Good, good.
Yeah.
Keeping busy. If you're ever out in back out in Naperville, Lisle area, you'll have to see our new meditation center. We just finished the building in July. It's
Oh,
gorgeous. Been spending a lot of time there.
yeah. Well, I've been doing a ridiculous amount of meditation. Have you ever heard a guy named Sam Harris?
Vaguely familiar.
Okay, so I started listening to his podcast, which has gotten me massively into meditation. Not that I think I've ever been successful at it the way he talks about, but when you meditate, do you get to the point where you feel the universe and you don't feel like you're lost in the universe? Do you ever get to that point?
Well, get you feel a sense of connectedness, relaxation. Our meditation is inner light and sound, so you see lights and you hear sounds. You're supposed to follow that. That's like from the Big Bang. God manifests light and sound, so you follow that back. So yeah, so depending on different degrees. Yeah,
Because
I
that's
mean,
kind
some people are better at it than others. I think the more educated you are, like both of us were pretty educated, it makes it hard. Your brain's on overdrive. It's interesting
of,
when Maharaji goes to India and these small farming towns, and he gives people meditation instructions. They've never meditated in their life. He gives them instructions, and they leave their body. They just fall over and leave their body. Right
I'm
during.
envious. Well, it's
Yeah.
funny because if you should probably listen to Sam Harris because he basically speaks to the guy who took Buddhist meditation and brought it to the United States.
Hmm.
Um, and so his name is um, Joseph Goldstein. You know him? Heard of him?
Again, vaguely.
Okay. So
One of the
anyway,
big meditation groups is the TM. Who was the guy? Swami Rama or something? Or no, someone like that. But yeah, TM or Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. Yeah. I don't know. I can't.
so Joseph spent, he was like about 30, 40 years ago, went over, well, now he's 70, so maybe 50 years ago. He
Mm,
went to both India and basically is credited, I mean, I don't really know, with being the person that brought meditation to the United States. And
mm,
so that's who actually he studied under. So they went and they've gone all over India like like apparently what's his face? Sam Harris did an entire 2 year meditation stint.
mm, mm.
And so what's interesting though is that so he basically gives a different form of medication called Vipassana. Do you know that? What that is?
Vipassana. Yeah.
Yeah. So I find
Vipassana.
that works way better for me. And
Hmm.
so I'm pretty much, it's the whole California thing. I'm pretty much meditating every day these days.
Good for you.
And then the other thing is I've become ridiculously spiritual, but like in a very universe way, if that makes sense too, meaning very much where I just like this company's been driving me nuts because there's just
Hmm.
like this block going on. Like all
Hmm.
this stuff, this awesome stuff's happening, and then this block comes on. And I finally just was spinning and I finally just said, you know what? I'm absolutely confident the universe wants me to get this done. So I'm going to stop worrying about it. I'm going to do whatever I can that I can. But I feel like I'm in a holding pattern. So I've been like biking every day and hardly working because
Hmm.
I can't do any more than I'm already doing, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah, at a certain point you have to get. I'm kind of learning that in various ways. You have to kind of give it up, and it's like with our own will, we can only get so far. It takes other things to fall into place to move things along. And
Exactly.
unfortunately, what we do is not part of the mainstream yet. It's
Yeah.
becoming, but not yet. And there's some forces that strong forces that don't want it to be. I don't know if
Yeah.
you heard, Boron just won another case against for the Oslo. They won a case about false advertising case. So
Good.
that's one of their biggest sellers. I think it's Oslo, Arnica, and Calendula are their three biggest sellers.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, they probably don't like me because I will cannibalize both the arnica and the um. You don't know the CEO of that company, do you? Personally?
All I know is the guy at US is Janik Budson. He's a pharmacist. He's a nice guy. He's actually a nice guy. I've met him. We talk. He's been to our
I
office.
reached out to him recently.
He's
Basically,
a nice guy. He's nice, and he's a pharmacist. They have, Boron. They're French. The French.
yeah.
There's the French way, and then there's the wrong way. If you know what I mean.
Well, I worked for a French company, and I probably have a more gentle version of them, but they can be a little hard-headed. But
He
I
he's
don't
very
think
he's
it'd be
very
different.
nice. I've only had good encounters with him, and they try and if they think they can help with something, they will. And I mean, I would think because your product is kind of you think the one of the cool things about your product is it's mainly for allopathic surgeons to use, specifically plastic
Yeah,
surgeons.
without
Who are kind of
cannibalizing.
That's
That's
kind
right.
of the pinnacle of allopathic medicine. I would think that they would want to get in there. And it's kind of more of a, I imagine, more of a high end market. Not, I mean, selling arnica is one thing, but plastic surgery people, you give them a little tube of arnica for 8, 5, 6, 7, 8 bucks. They're looking at you like, what?
Yeah.
They actually, it could potentially be a more high end. For them to spend 30 to 50 to 100 bucks on something be nothing.
Yeah, well, that's why. But eventually, I won't bring it out. I'm debating. So I'll either bring a 30C or a 200C. I haven't decided what the limit on the OTC. I will bring an OTC out someday and completely destroy their market. Because once the higher potency is out there, no one will buy the 10%. So I know that. But I did reach out to him and I basically said, we have the same goal. I'm the only one that's been able to patent anything of use. Maybe we should work together. Because I was basically, when I was spinning, going, I'm trying everything I can think of. I basically, the way I do with the universe, when I feel a block, is I just open doors. I actually believe there was a door I needed to open that I opened last week that finally just all of a sudden after that door was opened,
Mhm.
I'm chill again. And it's remarkable. Like I was probably clinically depressed for about 3 months, maybe four, just not knowing how I was going to pay the bills. Was I going to have to shut the company down? Blah, 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 blah. Because it doesn't make sense. I'm not getting investment. Like
Mhm.
everything's going wonderfully, everything.
Mhm.
And so I just felt there was a block, but I think I needed to reach out to someone. And actually, you may think I'm crazy, but I actually found a very ridiculously scarily accurate psychic,
Huh.
to the point where when I first met with her, she identified stuff that I sat down and I freaked out a little bit. I'm like, okay, there's a conspiracy theorist because there is crazy stuff that she knew
Mhm.
that there was no way in hell she would have had to talk to 7 people, and all 7 of those people, these are people like that she could have known. Every single one of those people would have had to remember virtually everything I've ever told them. It's
Hmm.
that accurate. Like she was sitting there talking about my thing, and most people don't understand the difference between a composition and a method pattern. And
Mhm.
she's like going, there's something he's doing. It's a method. And I sat there, I didn't see her, it was over the phone, but my jaw dropped. Because if I ever told you about the patent, it's like you wouldn't come up with, even though you know I have a patent, she wasn't even talking specifically about the patent at that point. But to know the details of what a method patent is versus a composition patent is only if you really understand patents are you going to know that.
I
She
would think that's something that patent lawyers would know. I mean, you're telling me, but I'm like, I'm clueless. I don't know. But I think the patent, that would be kind of in the realm of patent attorneys.
Exactly. She pulled that out of the universe. I swear to God. That word. And I just sat there and my jaw just dropped. And there was like, it wasn't that. It was like, when I got on the phone, she's like, you need to run a company. I didn't say anything because, at the beginning, you're testing them to see if they're crazy or
Mhm.
just like, charlatans or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I don't say anything. And she's, doing stuff. I don't remember what she was talking about. And then she's like, you need to run a company. So the third time she said, I said, don't worry about it. I already started one. It's fine. Right.
Mhm.
Right. She's like, oh, okay. And we talked a little bit about it. Then she comes up with, I see I said, so I want to know about my company. Right. I'm not telling her, I didn't say companies. I said company. She's like, I see two companies. One you'll sell and one you'll build. I have two
Wow.
companies. One I intend to sell, one I intend to build.
Hmm.
It was crazy. So she's like, nope, it'll be fine. And I actually think I know the company that's going to buy us. Will sell aesthetics and then build ink. And she keeps talking about a company she kept talking. And weirdly, what's really crazy is this woman who introduced me to her
Mhm.
almost a year ago. She doesn't remember her actually, unless there's a conspiracy theorist.
Mhm.
But she's like, she doesn't remember her, right? A
Mhm.
year ago, she told her, because this woman was trying to decide whether she was going to take a job offer. And
Mhm.
she's like, no, this isn't the right thing for you. There's something in the future. By the way, I'd never met this woman before.
Mhm.
There's somebody whose name starts with a J,
Mhm.
and there's something about blah blah blah, and it's breast. There's something related to breast. So a year later, she's talking to me, and I'm I'm like, am I going in the right direction? She's like, you've already talked to them, haven't you? I said, yeah, I think I have. And then she's like, I see there's something about a breast. Have you had a mammogram? I was just like, holy shit. It's the same
Mhm.
thing she told her a year ago.
Mhm.
It's crazy. So I'm going with either she's accurate and it keeps me from going crazy, or
Mhm.
I will just be delusional. It doesn't change dramatically what I'm doing. Oh, I decided that the breast company, so there's Allergan's looking at us again very seriously, which is one of the things I'm going to share with you guys.
Mhm.
Is
Oh, good. So
so
you're going with standard pharmaceutical, not
Yeah,
homeopathic.
no, and that's the thing is that, and
I
one of
like
the
that because more money and it gives homeopathy higher visibility.
actually completely true, and I one of the things that I'm going to basically inform everyone is starting about 4 months ago, I pulled the cover off of everything. And I said, I told Allergan that this is a 10 to the minus 100,000 um, concentration, and they're still talking to us,
Mhm.
which
I thought
is,
you said the scientists would tend to pipe in and say, no, no, we can't do this.
but I've basically straight out told them, and I've got reputable doctors who know this and still will swear to them it works, which is huge.
Mhm.
But the reason why I think so, it's interesting because Allergan will likely pay a lot more money,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I will probably sell it to another company. It's not as big, the breast company we're talking about, because Allergan Allergan will probably want to take over the whole entire company. And
Mhm.
I was looking at them, they've gotten some hand slap because they've done um, inappropriate things.
Mhm.
Because of the fact that I risk so much by giving them the keys to the kingdom,
Mhm.
because of the fact that I want to build this other company, it may strategically, and they may want to dip into stuff I don't want to sell them. Whereas a smaller company, everybody on my side, we make a whole lot
They
more
might
money.
do a carve out of your company so you can keep part and do other things. I'm sure, yeah, Allergan maybe pay you more, but they're going to want like you said, the keys to the kingdom, and you're done.
And I don't trust them.
Yeah.
That's the other
Well,
thing. So,
they're just profit driven, so it's all
yeah.
about profit. But the thing
Well,
is, yeah, they don't really understand the product like you. They don't. I
yep.
mean, I had a buddy in my buddy in Montreal who Lee, the blind guy. He
Yeah.
made this smoked wheat, and but it was vegetarian smoked. It was smoked wheat, supposed to be like smoked meat, like pastrami, and that's big in the Hasidic population there in Montreal. And it was a great product. He was selling it in stores, and he sold it to a big food company. They didn't know how to market it. I mean, he made money off of it, but they totally killed the product because they just didn't understand it. But he didn't mind. He had a paycheck, but that's the risk you run if they don't really understand it and how to market it. They might, you know, yeah, they could drop the ball.
And they also the other, I just don't trust them. And so
Yeah.
we'll see. I mean, if Allergan's
But
offering
if you get
like
one bid for an amount, that can up the other bid, any other bid you get if you let people know, hey, Allergan's offering me this much. What do you got?
and that's absolutely my intent.
Yeah,
But I
you
will
play
give,
one up.
if I cannot, from an investor standpoint, if the Allergan's like two or three times what the other people offer, I can't say no. I can't like do, but I'm just going with the universe. The universe right now is telling me that that I'm going to go and sell it to Sientra. So we'll see.
Mhm. So the
So
breast, is you're going to start doing it for like after aesthetics for a breast? I would think that'd be a big market.
I think they just happen to be one of the companies that makes breast implants.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's where the breast comes from, is it's a breast implant company. That's where they started.
Hmm.
But they've made some acquisitions lately, and it's the guy who I talked to
Hmm.
the other day is, although I was talking to him about being a board member on my side,
Hmm.
after talking to him, I started thinking he is on the board of Sientra, the breast company.
Hmm.
So we'll see. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm trying to do everything. It's
Hmm.
keeping, because there was time it was killing me. I got to the point of becoming suicidal completely.
Yeah.
I just didn't know what to do anymore. So, and the nice thing is,
Time for Orem. Time for Orem.
I did, by the way, I did take Orem at one point.
Yeah,
Uh,
Orem is great for suicidal. I give
yeah,
Orem once a month to someone who's suicidal. It usually works.
yeah. So for me though, yeah, I'm not suicidal right now, but yeah, I took Orem, but it turns out I got sick like 4 years ago, and actually the other one that helps me is just now. It's like I have like three different layers of constitutional. It drives me nuts a little bit.
Hmm.
But it's actually Naturum carbonicum. By the way, if you ever want to know a lot about Nature carbonicum, which is not well repertorized,
Hmm.
I am Nature carbonicum most of the time now.
Wow.
Um, so if you ever want to like question, because there's not a lot of stuff, and the reason I figured it out,
Hmm.
and what this is an interesting thing, an observation on the homeopathic standpoint. I'm
Hmm.
not sure. It was one of two things. My daughter ripped my heart out through a variety of things, right? So I'm
Hmm.
not sure if it was a reaction to that or a reaction to the fact that I got herpes.
Hmm.
But the reason why so two things happen, a couple different things happen. But one of which, Nature Carbonicum has this thing where your ankles give out. That's happening all the time. My herpes would show up on my tush, not in other parts.
Hmm.
But it's interesting because like, whereas Nature Muraticum dwells, I don't dwell at all. I just
Hmm.
don't. I don't have that dwelling thing. I don't have that, oh my God, I'm a bad person dwelling thing at all. But I do notice I get into like these depressions where I just don't, I lose hope, but I don't, like, I'm not crucifying myself over it, which in
Hmm.
Nature Muraticum as well. So if you ever want to just pick somebody's brain because you want to learn about Nature Muraticum, it's not very well researched, but basically, I mean, if I have a herpes outbreak, I mean, I'm positive I'm it. And it's keeping, so what I wasn't doing during that period, and there's only so much homeopathy can do when you've got a real possibility that your business is going to go
Yeah.
under. It's really hard to keep your spirits up. But
Yeah.
what it really helps me a lot is it helps me with, like, if I'm, so once I saw a way out, it's keeping me balanced again. So but if you ever really want to pick somebody's brain about like what's it, how do for as much as I have it, because do you prescribe, have you prescribed Nature Carbonicum very much? I never prescribed in my.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes for the mental symptoms, they have an aversion to certain people for seemingly no reason, I think is one of their symptoms. And the other time I commonly prescribe it is for chronic UTIs. It has a similar symptom to sarsaparilla, where there's pain at the end of urination.
Got it.
I've prescribed it quite successfully for that, and
Yeah,
sometimes
mine,
mental symptoms. I've never prescribed it for herpes. I just looked it up under herpes. It is there. So yeah,
actually, I believe it's the only black one, isn't it?
I looked under
Herpes, which shows up on your tush, on your
yeah.
nates. I believe it's the only black one for herpes on your tush, on your nates.
Okay, I've got it here on the anus, but let's see on the yeah. I don't know about that.
Yeah, and that's because I'm like, what the hell? It shows on my tush. So yeah, so if you ever see that symptom, you obviously have a great memory.
Yeah,
And I
it's a two. It's a two. You're right. It's the only two. It's borax, causticum, creosotum, nat carbon, nicolum. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, interesting. It's the main remedy.
and
Interesting.
it, why what made me decide, and that well is that, and the fact that I literally had gone through, like I had ruined 4 pairs of jeans because
Mhm.
I'd be walking around downtown Chicago, and all of a sudden I'd be on my knees because my ankle would give out. It's very
Uh,
weird. It's
yeah, weak knee, weak ankles, aversion, aggravation or aversion of milk kind of thing. Yeah, all those things it has.
yeah, and so
Yeah, you're
I
right. But it's not a dweller. I haven't. Yeah, it's not so much a dweller. Let's see if it's
so
even
it
there.
doesn't show dwelling. I didn't actually look that symptom up at all. Yeah, I don't
No,
dwell
no, it's not under dwelling. Nat Muir's a three, but Nat Carp's not even there. So it's yeah, different, different
because I
mental.
thought all the naturum book. I really thought all the naturums had dwelling. I didn't realize. I didn't realize. Now I always think nat mur and nat carb. I always saw them as similar, but honestly, I don't know that they are as much as I thought they were. Now that you mentioned there's no dwelling.
It's under aversion, mind aversion, persons to certain. It's a three. Calcarb and Nat Carb are both
You
threes.
know,
So they have this weird. The certain people they just don't like, and it's like why?
so,
I can't say. Just don't.
so I don't see that in me.
I'm just saying that's one of the symptoms I've prescribed
No,
it
no,
for.
that's the
But
only symptom I ever
you
knew
know
about
that
that.
I'm sure it's most of the time when I prescribed it, it's not there. When I do it for the urinary symptoms, it's not there.
Yeah, so, but I'm thinking that there's a person who is a friend of mine who she drives me nuts, but I think there's a good reason for it. I
Yeah.
mean, so I've not run across anyone I can't stand except for Trump supporters. Does it say aversion to Trump supporters? Does that count?
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, I imagine there's a lot of those in San Diego because of the wealth factor.
No, there's not a lot of them in San Diego. No,
Okay.
no, not really. Yeah, no, I think there's a good excuse for aversion to Trump supporters, which I've unfortunately verified and verified and verified. So, oh well, so
What?
good.
So Jonas, his group can't help you. Didn't they have the big thing at University of California, Irvine, right? But they kind
Oh
of
yeah,
took homeopathy
no,
out of
no,
the
no.
mix.
He pisses me off. So they decided to invest $300,000 into our company and then basically wrote a book on all the qualifications you need to do. And I finally just looked at them. I'm like, this is $300,000, which in investment world is not a whole lot. I said, and you're requiring me to pay a 4-page document to say that I'm going to do the research that you know I'm going to do. I'm sorry. And he also, so one of the problems with Wayne is a bureaucrat.
Yep.
He doesn't understand startup world. And he was going to start, he was not only going to, he was going to make my life hell in doing the research, and he would have pissed off all my doctors because
Yeah,
he's,
Wayne's all about the research, what you can do, what you can't do. I mean, he's all into the research methodology, all that stuff. Yeah.
and he's a, in innovation world, he's at the far end of being a laggard, meaning he doesn't know how to innovate and he doesn't know how to process quickly. And so he would have pissed off all my doctors because aesthetics is like, we're going to get it done. We're going to do the basics. We're not going to this is not an FDA trial, dude. And he was going to basically try and do FDA trial level stuff. And it's like, that's not what we're doing here. And
Yeah.
so I finally just said, either stop driving, either stop. So I basically said, I walked away from it.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like, and if they're not going to give me control over what I need to be doing, it just, and the other thing
Well, at
is,
least give you enough money that you can hire some people that you can meet the criteria that they're asking. But yeah, if they're not even going to give you that much and they expect you to jump through all these hoops, it's like, what's the point?
and he was just going to make life hell. So I basically said to them, I mean, I keep talking to him. I mean, basically, what really pisses me off is and the other thing is, he's blocking. He is so blocking. I'm like, I just want to meet the Samuelis. You know why? Because she is the only other engineer besides me who is a homeopath in the entire United States. And what pisses me off is he's such a fiefdom person, he won't introduce me, which is stupid as shit. I don't, I
Well,
have,
that's his claim to fame. He's got the connection. So yeah,
yeah,
I can
you know what
see that.
pisses me off? Is
Yeah.
he should be bending over backwards to help me. I get more help by the allopathic people than I do Wayne Jonas,
Mhm.
which pisses me off. It's like,
Andre was in a meeting with him. They were trying to quote save homeopathy. Him, Peter Gold, some other people, and yeah, Andre was not impressed. He said, "Yeah, Wayne, what's up with Wayne?" He's like, "It's all about Wayne. It's all
it's
about
all,
himself." You know? It's like, well,
yep,
okay.
yep, and that's,
He's kind of like a Dana Ullman kind of guy, I guess.
he's
Not as well.
not,
Dana Ullman has kind of a perverted
yeah,
direction, but Wayne's not like that, thank God. But yeah, but I think everyone's trying to do the best they can do, and yeah, in homeopathy, I'm convinced. Any time we have a chance to shoot ourselves in the foot, we usually shoot ourselves in both feet.
yeah. Well, what I believe is that one day I will meet her and I will probably tell her that he's not good because I think he's damaging to homeopathy for sure.
Oh,
Because
what has he done for homeopathy in the last 10 years? What?
not collaborative at all.
Yeah,
And if we're not collaborative, then we're screwed. But at
yeah.
that point, it won't matter because I'll have enough money and I won't need them anymore.
Mhm.
And so what's crazy is what really, and it just pisses me off. They should be the people supporting me because I've literally ripped my life to shreds for this fucking company and for
Mhm.
homeopathy. And the
Mhm.
fact that they should walk up to me and say, Joe, how much money do you need? Because you've done things nobody's ever done in homeopathy before.
Mhm.
Instead, they're giving me shit. And I was just like, I can't do this. I need
But it's
somebody.
not them, it's Wayne, right? It's Wayne.
It's Wayne. Yeah. I need somebody that's going to support me. I don't
Yeah.
need somebody who is going to basically make my life even more hell. And that's
Mhm.
really why I walked away because I was just frustrated with them completely. So
Mhm. Mhm. No, I can see it. I can see it. I mean, what has he done? What kind of research has he done useful to homeopathy in the last 10 years? I mean, I don't know anything.
and research useful to anybody else. I saw it's so funny. I'm so used to the allopathic world that I
Mhm.
went to a seminar of his and I went, oh my God, this is crap. He wrote a book recently. Did you read it?
No. He wrote a book way back with Jennifer Jacobs, which is actually pretty good, Introduction to Homeopathy, but it's not available anymore.
What's that?
He wrote a book with Jennifer Jacobs many years ago, 15 years, 20 years ago, which is no longer available. Discovering Homeopathy or something. It was a nice book, like meant for practitioners and stuff. What's his
Mhm.
new book on?
On how I don't know, it's kind of, it to me is mealy mouth. It's something that I saw him give a latter end of a presentation when I first met him. I thought I'd really like him when I first met him, but after working with him, I've lost respect. But um basically he wrote it about like all the ways you're supposed to like take care of yourself if you're in the hospital, and think about healthy thoughts. It's so dumb. I mean, I don't really know what it's about, but it's all like like meditate and do shit like that. It's not, I didn't find it revolutionary. I don't really know for sure because I didn't read it, but all the stuff that I've seen from him does not impress me. It's too general. Homeopathy can change the fucking world, and
Mhm. Yeah.
he just, yeah,
That would certainly help the whole healthcare system. Look in India, homeopathy is thriving in India. They're competing with the allopaths. They're actually successfully competing with the allopaths over there. But here in this country, man, we got no game, very
no.
little game.
But I do think what we do is the way we practice it, you and I practice it. There's like five, this is what I came to a conclusion. There's maybe 10 people in the entire country, maybe 20 if we're lucky, that can practice well the type we do it. They don't have the analytical skills or the brain power to do it. If you don't, I'm sure that both you and I are in the top 1 or 2% of the population as far as intelligence levels.
Hmm.
We can do that. But
Hmm.
can you imagine if you're in the top, I mean, the top 10%? You're screwed. You can't do this.
Hmm.
It requires so much brain power and analytical and memory and all this other stuff. I just think it's impossible to really practice it the way we do it. India does it in, I would say, a light way. They don't do it as intensely as you and I do. But then I'm going to fix
Yeah, I
that.
see that when I go to Andre's conference. I still go every year, and that's exactly what I see. There's so many people there that try, but it's like how many people actually get there? There's a few, like Lisa. There's a few people who can really keep up, but yeah, most people are kind of like, what?
Yeah.
They still come.
My end game is, right?
Yeah,
End
yeah.
game is that the only way we save homeopathy is we have to develop the DNA tests to match them to homeopathic remedies. So your job in that
Hmm.
is going to be at some point, probably 10 years down the line from me, I'm going to need like 10 people that you're 1,000% sure are reactive to arsenicum album or some remedy.
Hmm.
And we'll basically pull their DNA and see where they match.
Hmm.
Because I'm sure there'll be, I'm, see, this is the weird, so I very much believe that I have kind of come to the conclusion that I'm getting inspiration that's not from myself, that it's from the universe.
Hmm.
Because it's like somebody could be like, yeah, and it's I just know it's right. I don't have
Hmm.
any data on it at all, but it
Hmm.
matches what we're doing. Because I'll say to
Hmm.
geneticists, I'm like, if you had someone that had these 7 diseases or these 7 problems, would it make sense they had common DNA? And they're like, yeah, totally makes sense.
Hmm.
Nobody disagrees with me that it makes sense, but I just was sitting at the table one day and all of a sudden I realized, oh, that's what we need to do. And
Hmm.
I know I'll do
Yeah,
it.
no one's looked at it that way in terms of a type of remedy that people respond to in their genetics. But yeah, I think you're right. It'll be interesting to see. Is it just the DNA? Is it epigenetics? Is it
Yeah,
mitochondrial DNA? I'm not sure where the match will be, but yeah, I think there's going to be
I
some
think
some
we can
match there for
figure it
sure.
out. And the reason, it's like things happen for me, I believe my life is completely directed.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't think I have much wiggle room, but it's why I'm in San Diego.
Hmm.
It, San Diego is the genetics capital of the United States. So, and I know people that, or I will, oh, it's so weird how this is my life, right?
Hmm.
My next phase is going to be sports medicine. You would not believe how many people I've met that are professional athletes and or sports medicine people in the last 2 months. It's
Cool.
crazy. The universe is just throwing them at me at this point. It's so funny. This
Hmm.
really great doctor reached out to me 2 months ago or maybe a month ago.
Hmm.
He's a orthopedic radiologist,
Hmm.
knows everything about like the knee and shit like that. And so I actually sent him the remedies we need for, orthopedics. And so he's like, okay, we got to figure out where we go to the next thing. I'm like, well, play around with these and then we'll talk. And so it's just like the universe is throwing at me like I've met three, like literally sitting at a counter the other day. My friend and I had dinner. The guy that sat next to me was played for the 49ers. I mean, it's
Wow.
that level
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
people. Some guy randomly connected to me on LinkedIn who is a Heisman Trophy winner.
Wow.
It's like, okay, clearly things are happening the way they need to. And what's really cool is I also know the CEO of Donjoy Braces, which is one of the biggest brace manufacturers in the world.
Hmm.
So it'll happen, but cross your fingers because otherwise I'm going crazy. So
Well, just the universe just have to kind of go with it. You can't get, like you said, you can't get too attached to any one outcome. You just have to see how it evolves. That's
yeah,
life.
and very much of
Being in a startup like you, it's not an easy road that you picked to hoe. It's a tough
uh,
road.
mainstreaming homeopathy. You
Hmm.
think that's a very hard, you think that's a good road to pick? I mean, nobody's ever done it.
Yeah, no.
And I would,
Well, in the late 1800s and then the early 1900s, they kind of had a little bit of a clue about it, but that was before Big Pharma got all the money and took over everything.
and it was
Nowadays,
before
it's
allopathic really.
exceedingly hard. Yeah.
I mean, and that's why, I mean, arguably, but I mean, when you look at, so am I still seeing my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is one of the slides I'm going to show, and I'm going to go through this. Let me see if I don't remember how to. Okay, so I don't know how to get rid of this. Okay, Queen of Derm, um, top Galderma's top, injector trainer, on the board of ASDS, American Society of Dermatology Surgeon, former president of ASDS, ran the ASOPers committee. Don't know what she's done. He's not. So all of these people that are here, Allergan's top 50 injectors. She was president of ASDS last year. Ashish is actually in California, in Chicago. I mean, all of these people are big names.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I do not believe that we've ever had, I mean, it's not like these are the people that run the groups. And I don't think allopathic world has embraced homeopathy to this level ever.
Hmm.
Not when you get the number one people in an industry. When
Nope.
people look at this list, even you talk about all the allopathic things that they have in my industry,
Hmm.
when they look at our medical advisory board list, they're like, you have the best medical advisory board. This isn't my medical advisor, it's a subset of them. It's like the people on the pretty much on the top level
Hmm.
of any allopathic or non-allopathic company, except for the ones that are like $2 billion companies.
Hmm.
That
Well,
says
I
a
think
lot.
that's where it's kind of unique, the aesthetics. I mean, I think that's one area in allopathic medicine where I think the plastic surgeons just seem to accept homeopathy as a, it's like,
Yep,
yeah, of course it works. I've used it. It works.
absolutely.
It's not a, any
Thank
other practitioners like, well, but they have experience with it. They're willing to try it because everyone else is doing it. So yeah, I think it's the one inroads for sure. It's definitely a
yeah.
good inroad. It's probably the best right now.
Well, that's why we chose it years ago. Um, because we knew that our barrier was going to be lower. And when we go to orthopedics, we'll do it, but we'll do it with data. So,
Len Turok, he has data. I don't think he ever published a study about using arnica pre and post op in orthopedic surgery, and the blood loss was significantly less.
so
Len. You met
yeah,
Len you
we've
met him
talked.
in Montreal once, right?
Yeah, I know him. I've talked to him
Yeah,
off and on, not
yeah,
in years, but before I did.
yeah. I think
Um,
he's mainly his wife is a dermatologist, and she mainly does. He and his wife, their main practice is aesthetics, I think. And
really?
he does like I last I heard, this was years ago, he does homeopathy like once a week and he does treats mainly cancer patients. But then
Mhm.
he and his wife do aesthetics. That's how they pay the bills.
Well, that's weird that he's never reached out to me to use this product. That's kind of dorky, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, dear, I'm gonna let you go.
All right.
So yeah, so I'm gonna basically the whole entire thing that I'm gonna basically go through is let people know that no, 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 this is like we're making progress, and the
Mhm,
fact that I openly talk about it being 10 to the minus 100,000, and
mhm,
these people still support it
mhm,
is huge.
mhm.
So
What time are you gonna because we start the thing on Saturday is it's from 10 to 1. That's Chicago time.
yeah, so
And Bob usually does an hour at first. He'll probably do 10 to 11, 11:30, depending on how much time he takes. When do you want to do your thing?
so I've got to be out of here. I've got to be someplace at around 10, and I told him I'd be a little bit late. So I told him I need to be done um by 9:45 my time.
That's 11:45. So that means you should probably go first. That means you could start
That's
at
not,
8.
that's not the way he's, I mean, that would be fine. Let me know. But yeah, because it's like I'm sailing that day, and so I need to be there. I need to leave, shortly.
You need to be gone by
By
that
9:45.
9:45 would be 10:40 would be 11:45 our time, 11:45 a.m. You see, Bob can go he can go an hour and a half, so that doesn't give you enough time. I think you need to start. So that would be 10 o'clock our time. That'd be 8 o'clock your time.
And I will, so send a note to Bob. I would agree with that.
You're cool starting at 8?
Yeah, I'll be fine to start. And then I'll do a full hour. Because I told him, I'm like, I got to be done. I got to be out of here at that time.
Yeah, you go 9, then that will be, yeah. Let's see,
That'll
then no,
be time.
8 your time. Yeah, you'll be done by 9, 9:30, whatever. Okay, yeah.
Okay. So get that, just have him contact me if that changes, if he wants to make that change.
And
But that,
I'm going to sign on. I usually sign on right around 10 a.m. our time, so 8 your time, maybe a little before, 15 minutes before or so, and I'll be logging on, and then so I'll send. Actually, I'll send him an email right now, and I'll copy you.
okay. Cool.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that makes sense because you've got it's like we see you once a year, we see Bob every month, but if we see you once a year, it's better to let you do your thing as long as you need to, and then we can go with his stuff.
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right, Joe. Well, good talking to you.
Good talking to you. And hopefully one of these days I'll call you and said, I sold it. So
Good.
that'd be
Then
awesome.
you'll be able to buy your own boat, hopefully.
Then I'll be able to buy my own boat. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Joe.
Okay.
All right.
Bye. Have a great day.
All right, you too. Bye.